How's it going, everyone? I hope you're all having a good day. I really apologize about the delays in the live hunting videos. I know it has been quite a while since the last one. Today we'll be going back to the flea market, and before that we'll be checking out a couple games that I got from eBay. And now we're going to give something away like we always do. The way you get entered into this is just by leaving a comment about absolutely anything you want on this video, and you will automatically be entered in the next one, which I promise you will not be as far from this video as this video is from the previous one. And the winner is Doki Doki Damien. So send me a message to gettingyournerdon13@gmail.com and I will get something out in the mail to you. And now let's check out those games from eBay. So I got both of these games from eBay. They're both PS3 games. They both cost just about $8, and that was including shipping. The base games have been delisted digitally, so if you want to play either of these, you will have to track down a physical copy of the game. And the digital-only DLC, as far as I'm concerned, cannot be officially obtained anymore. So the first one here is Explore the Dungeon because I don't know. This game definitely got its cheeks clapped when it came out. It did not review well, and I can see why. I played this game quite a bit, and I would continue to play it. I'm going to try to beat it. And it incorporates a bunch of like NES hard style elements that you would think would maybe be refined at this point. But it is a dungeon crawler that isn't really flashy, and it definitely is not a game that's made for everybody. Next is the only Adventure Time game that was available for 2 console generations, and if you play on PlayStation, it released for the 3 and 4. It is Finn and Jake Investigation, so this is in the vein of a point-and-click adventure game, investigation game, except it's not point-and-click. This game is fully 3D, so they recreated the land of Ooo really well. The cast did return to reprise their vocal roles, and it does make it feel a lot more like the show. So there are 5 cases that you get to take on in this game, and there were a couple more that were DLC. I don't know what they involve because I was never able to play them. If something like this was like Jimmy Neutron based, nothing against the show, I probably never would have played them, but my girlfriend and I are big fans of Adventure Time. We're going through the series right now. This one is not my favorite, but I do appreciate it. It incorporates familiar characters, the voices are great, there's all kinds of problems to solve. You'll be exploring parts of Ooo that you didn't even know existed. There is combat, as you can see here. It's nothing crazy. When you hit enemies enough times, Jake can turn into one of 4 things, so you can ride him around or wear him as the Jake suit in the battle. This is another game that could use some quality of life improvements. There's no chapter select, and there's some pretty tricky trophies, so if you find yourself wanting to platinum the game and you miss something, it's very possible you're going to have to play through the entire game again to do it. And I wouldn't be surprised if pretty much nobody on Earth cares about these games but me. However, if you are an Adventure Time fan and you have the opportunity to pick one of these games up relatively cheap, try it out. You might like it. Alright, so first thing we find here is a Game & Watch. This has the instructions. It's in really nice shape. There was a couple more of the LCD games down there. The guy said they were $1 a piece. No brainer, I'm grabbing it. Here's a wireless PS2 controller. It is not first party. It's made by PowerA. This is the era of dongles and receivers. So remember, if you're looking for one of these, you're going to have to find the other piece along with it. And here's some Xbox 360 stuff that looks like it was just dragged out of a lake. There's a pretty hard-loved wireless controller up there. A power supply to the left, which are just gigantic. A copy of Barbershop on PSP. And then there's the HD DVD drive. Here is an Activision plug-and-play. I don't know what games are on this. I have about 1 billion of these to get through and make reviews on before I buy any more of them, but if I do run into this ever again, maybe I'll pick it up. I've mentioned it before, if you have time, go through the bins of movies and games because sometimes you will find some good stuff. A lot of people ignore them because they think there's just movies in there, but a lot of time games get mixed in. Here's a copy of Use Your Illusion 1. Guns N' Roses is my favorite band of all time. Not sure which one I prefer between 1 and 2, really just depends on what mood I'm in. Here's another bucket of stuff. Again, it's not always going to pay off, but sometimes it will. There's some Madden in there. Total Recall, NHL Slapshot for the Wii, NBA 2K17. Was that what that was? Bunch of 10-footers, mostly junk this time around, unless you just need replacement cases. Here's a Zoids model kit in a pile of junk, and I will be more than willing to bet that it's missing pieces you will never be able to find anywhere. Don't forget to open the cases and see what's inside. Here we have a copy of Gun in a King Kong case. You might have a copy of King Kong in a gun case, so by buying this, you can complete both of them. So here's another table of DVDs that I'm going to look through, and this time I'm actually going to find something good. Well, good might not exactly be the right word for it. There's Fifth Element there, Tomb Raider, Tetris Plus, Game Day 99, Jeopardy. There's a Dukes of Hazzard 2. That game is called Daisy Dukes It Out. And some long box games that you never see. There's Shout Out, or what is that game called? Shootout. And then Loaded. These specific long boxes are the 2nd and 3rd generation of PlayStation game cases before they finally moved over to the jewel case that they kept for the rest of the console's life. I'm going to grab pretty much all of this stuff. I don't remember how much it was, but it was cheap. They were a couple bucks a piece. The Fifth Element we will look at later because I've never played it before, and I personally don't know anything about it. Jeopardy is there, and then of course I'm grabbing Loaded and Shootout because I don't really see long box games that often. The only ones I'm going to leave behind are the sports games. And again, at this price, you can pick up the sports games just for the replacement cases, or if you need them, if you're going for a full PS1 collection, which I respect the people who attempt it, but may God have mercy on your soul. Here's a bunch of 360 games. These are $5 a piece. There's quite a good selection in here. Prince of Persia is in there, Destiny, Gears of War. I would show you the other side, but unfortunately there was some adult content there that I just couldn't edit out. So there's like one shot that we're going to see and we'll just hold on it. There's really nothing crazy in here, but the Xbox 360 has such a solid library. There are so many good games that are cheap that when you find a huge lot like this, you're definitely going to be able to find a couple things that you can put quite a bit of time into. Fallout 3 is there. Brink, one of the games I absolutely despise. Syndicate is there. Rock Band 2 is there. Borderlands 2. Oh yeah, here's a copy of Naruto, and you open it up and there's Madden. This has happened to everybody before. And here it is again, except this time it's kind of happening in the exact reverse. You open up a case for Black Ops 3, and inside you have The Last of Us Remastered. Okay, these games are $5 a piece. I tried to haggle with the guy, but he legitimately put them out like as I walked up. So he said he wasn't going to cut me a deal right away, but $5 is still a pretty good price on some of these games. Here is Tempest X3. I'm going to pick this up. Tempest has been around for quite a while. There's actually a PS4 version of it released a couple years back. I haven't had a chance to play it yet, but like a billion other games, it's on the list. Red Dead Redemption. God of War, iNinja. This is an awesome little game that I can't recommend enough. I feel like it doesn't get talked about all that much, but maybe it's starting to gain some traction. It's just a really cool, fun, quirky game. Behind that is God of War 3, which was remastered for the PS4 just a few years later. There's Metal Gear Solid 4, which is one of the bigger games that is still notoriously stuck on the PS3. Dante's Inferno, I did play that when it came out. I liked it quite a bit. Resident Evil 5, Vanquish, Sonic the Hedgehog, that you really can't pass up when you see it. This is from the weirdly interesting dark era of Sonic from the 2000s. These games, I think, are all complete and they're in really nice shape. So for $5 a piece, I will be picking up 4 of them, and I'll leave the other ones because I have most of it. Here's a PlayStation 2 power cord for a couple bucks, $1, $2, I don't know, I'm grabbing it. Here is a green Halo Xbox 360 controller. I only want this for the shell because I don't have this color controller, and you can see it's an awful shape. The guy wanted $10 for it, I offered him 3 and he said fine. And here's a big old stack of games and accessories for multiple consoles, so let's go through them. Skyrim, SSX, Diablo 3, let's see, Rock Band. I remember everyone playing Diablo 3 back in the day. Apparently nobody likes it anymore. There's the Da Vinci Code, Splinter Cell, Tokyo Extreme Racer, the original Max Payne, which is one that I still need to get around to playing. Borderlands 2, Series of Unfortunate Events, a lot of stuff here, nothing crazy. Saturday Night Speedway, I would have bought this, but it had no manual and it had no disc. I have found a copy since, but I'm going to leave it here. NBA 2K13. Here's a 360 copy of Rock Band 3 that I'm going to pick up. This is the most expensive of the Rock Band games right now. A complete copy will probably run you around $30. The 360 is really the go-to for Guitar Hero and Rock Band games. And I think the most expensive Guitar Hero game right now is Guitar Hero Metallica. Black Site, Area 51, Black Ops. Oh, and you can just tell that all these discs are wrecked. So even though they're a couple bucks, you might be able to buff these out, but probably not. And nothing here is really that crazy anyway. Gun, Sims 3 for PC. If it's not a Blu-ray disc and it's in a pile like this, it's probably wrecked. Oh, and there's a copy of Mortal Kombat 9 Complete Edition, which would be a nice find if it was in better shape. Here are some movies and games that are $5 each or 3 for $10. Even though there's not a ton of games here, there's actually a pretty decent selection. Max Payne 2, Brothers in Arms. And here's a game you don't see or hear about very often, Land of the Dead Road to Fiddler's Green. It was based off the Land of the Dead movie from the 2000s. Land Before Time. What is that Wii game? NBA Live 06. Yeah, look in the cases if you have time. I did it in the video before or the one before that where there's a copy of NCAA 14 in there. TMNT, what was that movie from 2006? Burnout. I think I'm going to pick that up as well. What else do we have here? There was a Wii workout game. I can't remember which one it was. FIFA Soccer 2002. I don't know why I didn't look in that case after I told people multiple times already to look in the cases. There's a copy of Max Payne 2. Well, that's NBA 2K14. Dark Mirror, Brothers in Arms. This one I should have picked up. I should have grabbed a copy of this to follow Max Payne. I do have it, but it's so cheap. There's Drag Racing, Madden, Triple Play, Connect Adventures, Test Drive Unlimited, and then I do pick that one up. There's a little damage to the case, but it was complete and in pretty nice shape. So those are the 3 games I grabbed. Here's another table with tons of games on it. When I walked up, the guy was just putting them out. And these are also just a few dollars each. I end up buying about a dozen things from here. There are some good games like Grand Theft Auto and Bully that I don't end up buying because the cases don't have the discs in them. There's Blitz 2003 up there, Lego Batman, Rainbow Six, Strike Force Bowling, MLB The Show, 10 Footer City, Grand Theft Auto 5, what is that, Call of Duty Ghost, Madden 16. Oh yeah, and while I'm thinking about it, I brought up before that there are some expensive Skylanders games. Pretty much the PS4, Xbox, and Switch versions of Skylanders all have some value. The ones from the Wii generation don't really have much value at all, but the ones from the generation after, a lot of them do. The Switch game is like over $100. Vacation, MLB 13, NASCAR 14, I will be grabbing that. There's a copy of Paul Blart Mall Cop there. A greatest hits copy of the original PS2 God of War on the top right. American Pie Beta House. So yeah, here's a copy of Bully. The game wasn't in there. The case is pretty wrecked too. Fallout 4. Fight Night Round 4. I believe I end up getting that as well. If there's a game that you want, like something like Fallout, Fight Night Round 4, where it has licensed people like Mike Tyson, or a game like a wrestling game that has a licensed character, you should get it when you can find it, because a lot of times when the things have licenses, they get pulled sooner rather than later. Here's a copy of X-Men Origins Wolverine. That game has gone up quite a bit. The guy ended up giving me that case for free. I put it back there, but he does end up giving it to me. And I did have a disc-only copy that I got from somewhere, so I was able to complete it. What else do we have here? God of War, Monopoly for the Xbox One. That's another I end up grabbing. And there's a ton of stuff here. There's somebody else who's going through here as well. You can see a Shadow of Mordor. Is that what that one is? Chappelle Show, one of my favorite shows of all time. Game Party for the Wii, Pirates of the Caribbean for the 360, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3, and there's a bunch of discs. Again, most of these are going to be wrecked. Here's a copy of Wii Sports. Even if it's got some scratches, I always grab it anyway. That game is always worth buffing out. So he gives me this copy of The Walking Dead for like really cheap, or he might have just given it to me for free. And it's on Blu-ray, so I was saying like they'll survive better than a CD. Oh, he gave me Lollipop Chainsaw as well. They'll survive better than being on a CD, but even that PS4 copy of Walking Dead just didn't work. So yeah, a lot of this disc-only stuff is really scratched. And lastly, here is a box for a red Wii. There is nothing else in here. There's no hardware. There is no games. However, it does have all the other stuff. It even has the thing that holds the motion bar. And he wants $10 for it. I don't know if this is worth $10. I don't really care. I'm buying it anyway. All right, so let's look at some stuff. So here's the Game & Watch. This is called the Exterminator. It is part of the Silver Series from 1980. This is one of the single screen models. You may be more familiar with the dual screen ones that were released later on. And I'm just surprised with how good of condition this is in. Like, look how clean the screen is. Because a lot of people who sell this stuff don't take care of any of it. They get it from a basement buyout or a yard sale, and then they just throw it out on a table. And sometimes it's a miracle that it survives at all. Anyway, this is what the game looks like when you put the two batteries in it. You move left and right, and when something walks up, you bonk it on the head, and you see how long you can go. In 2010, for the 30th anniversary of the Game & Watch, Nintendo re-released the first one that was called Ball. And if you were a member of Club Nintendo in North America, you could get one for redeeming 1,200 coins. Here is Skylander Swap Force, and yes, there are Skylanders games that are expensive. They go up and down, but this one's about $60 right now. GameStops as well as local game stores will sometimes mark these down to $2 to $3 because they just assume they have no value like the previous generation's games. So there are possibilities for you to find copies of these flying under the radar, especially right now. Here's the controller. This is before I fix it up. You can tell it's beat to hell. Again, I just wanted it for the shell. I don't have a green controller, and it also didn't come with its original battery pack cover. This one is white when it should have been black. And here it is all fixed up and cleaned with new thumbstick covers and the correct battery cover. I just used the white wireless controller that I had that someone had drawn all over it with marker. It was like that when I bought it, and I just took the good insides from that and put it into the shell, that's all. And yeah, it's not in pristine condition, but that's alright. I'm just going to use it, so it doesn't really matter. And here's a closer look at Land of the Dead Road to Fiddler's Green. This game is also available on the PC, and it is considered abandonware on there, so you can just go out to like the abandonware website and download the game and play it. If you just want to play it, you don't want to spend like $40-50, whatever this game is currently going for on the Xbox. When we talk about licensed games, there are a few different types. There are ones like the Ninja Turtles that were licensed in the 80s, 90s, and 2000s, and then we just got them relicensed again last year for the Cowabunga collection, like ones that will come back regularly. Then you have others like the PS1 Toy Story 2 game that has somehow made its way to the storefronts of almost every single generation of PlayStation all the way up to the PS5. And then you have something like Scott Pilgrim, which is a game that was delisted for quite a while. It was like one of the most famous delisted games that there was. And then due to the fan demand and the movie's anniversary, I believe, they ended up putting it back out. And then you have games like this, Land of the Dead, which I will be amazed if this game is ever relicensed ever. I don't think it's going to be. This is the only release that is ever going to exist. This game is good. I played it quite a bit. This is more in the vein of The Walking Dead Survival Instinct, which I did a review on a couple years back, than it is for something like Left 4 Dead. It's not arcadey. If that's the thing that you want, this game really probably won't be for you. But if you're into the more realistic, even though it's not very realistic, but the more realistic style of a zombie game, having to conserve your ammunition, that kind of stuff, then you'll probably like this game, so give it a shot. All right, and here are the 4 games that I picked up for $20. Dante's Inferno on the top left, that's the Divine Edition. Top right, we have Sonic 06, which is a game I haven't played. It gets memed and clowned on all the time on the internet because he has a relationship with like a human woman. Bottom left is iNinja, which I am wholeheartedly recommending. So you have your choice of Xbox, PlayStation 2, or GameCube. Whichever library you do more of the collecting for, feel free to get it on that. I wouldn't be surprised if the Xbox version is the best. But yeah, it's good, it's unique, it's quirky, it's funny, like I said before. So grab it if you see it. And bottom right, we have Tempest, which is a game series that dates all the way back to 1981. Very recognizable game. You're never going to confuse it with any other series. I haven't played this one, but I'm going to try to get around to it at some point. Here's the Dukes of Hazzard 2, Daisy Dukes It Out. The only reason I'm showing this is because when I showed myself picking it up, it was kind of in different pieces and all over the place because it was in a Blockbuster rental case. I'm just showing you that it actually did have everything. It had the back artwork in there. It had the cover art. It's not connected to the rest of the manual, but it is all in there. And for not even being secured in the box, you'd think that the disc would be a lot more scratched up than it is. The handling in this game is atrocious. I don't know how you make a game based on racing around and that isn't like your first priority to make perfect, but driving this, I'm trying as hard as I can to make it look halfway decent. All the character models and everything are good though. So I don't know why they put more time into that than the, driving and steering elements and everything, but they did. Here's the Fifth Element. I didn't know anything about this game, so I wanted to talk about it in this video. It says that this takes the Nightmare Creatures engine one step further. So we've all seen the movie. I'm going to guess most people don't know this game even exists. And if you do know it exists, you probably don't know anything about it. And I'm going to tell you right now that this is one of the most PS1 games to ever be a PS1 game. And the reviews were not kind to the Fifth Element back in 1998. So I played this for a bit and you're seeing the footage and I know it looks like I'm absolutely terrible at this game, but I'm telling you, controlling this is not easy. And it keeps changing perspectives, which means that the controls change with it. So sometimes when you're pressing up, it'll make you go forwards, and sometimes when you're pressing up, it'll make you go backwards. So I'm trying here, but I still just died over and over again, and a bunch of times it wasn't even to the enemies, it was to the environment. But the game is pretty lenient because if you start level 1 and say you kill 5 enemies and then you die, when you restart level 1, those 5 enemies stay dead. And I'm going to guess when the developers were working on this game, they were like, if we don't put something like this in place, no one is ever going to beat this. And the main character has this badass like running jump attack that doesn't really work all that well, but it looks awesome. Alright, well that's it for today. I will get another live hunting video out for you guys relatively soon. I do have a GBA to Z and LCD long play video ready to go in the meantime. Let me know what you've been playing or what you picked up recently. I bought the remaster of Quake for the PS4 last night, so I'll be playing through that. And now I'm going to go finish up my Platinum of Stray, one of my favorite games of 2022, which I highly recommend even if you don't love cats. Yeah, that's it. So stay nerdy. I'm out.
Getting your nerd on, getting your nerd on, getting your nerd on.
I got a raging nerd on.